It's like a paper. Good afternoon, members. Welcome to the IMAA's Insights and Innovation series, and welcome to a very, very special session where we're going to have Programmatic 201. I think we've all done Programmatic 101. Programmatic 201 is the first time I've heard of it, and I'm very, very excited about that. We've got one of our amazing partners, Crimtan, talking to us, and the amazing Laura is going to be introducing all the wonderful things. What we're going to be doing and discussing is leveraging DCO, which is dynamic creative optimization, which we're very, very excited to talk about, which is the next level. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Laura, who's going to take things over and run you through about 25 to 30 minutes of the most amazing content you've ever heard. Laura, over to you.
No pressure. The most amazing content. I hope that you all think that. But yeah, thank you very much, Sam. And thanks to everybody who is taking time out of your busy schedules to come and see us today. Today, we're going to be talking about DCO, which is quite topical. You know, I think personalization and DCO, you know, is really popular at the moment. You know, it is a bit of a hot topic. You know, a lot of clients are kind of wanting to try something new. You know, I have heard a lot of, you know, CMOs from huge brands like Barbecues Galore and Woolies X say that they think that DCO should kind of be a standard part of every campaign. DCO kind of really helps brands to create relevancy, which ultimately is always going to create a better user experience and also drives performance. And there's lots of different ways that you can utilize DCO for lots of different objectives. So I'll be talking about some of those today. So first of all, what is dynamic creative optimization besides being a tongue twister? Dynamic creative optimization, or I'll refer to it as DCO moving forward, is the ability to allow you to kind of change your creative in real time based on different data inputs. So through a single template, you can create hundreds of different kind of creative variations without having to redesign an ad. So here are some of the more common ways that we see people use DCO. Dynamic weather lets you change your creative based on the weather. So for the example that you see on your screen, BWS use dynamic weather in a really kind of a clever way. On rainy days, their messaging was all about, you know, when it rains, it pours. And the CTO was about, you know, driving all of their users to shop online. Whereas on a sunny day, you know, it changed to kind of messaging around soaking up the sun, and the CTA changed to a find your nearest store creative. So, you know, this can also change your products. So you can kind of look at showing, you know, umbrellas in the rain, or, you know, more kind of summer related products when it's sunny as well. So another really great example is, you know, creating interactive experiences with DCO. You can kind of use any data about your customers to create an interactive experience within your ad unit. You know, this is kind of one of my favorite examples for Barbecues Galore, who also sell heaters. So Barbecues Galore know that their customers, you know, look at the price and the size of a room when they're looking at, you know, the biggest factors when buying a new heater. So we created this interactive creative where users basically can select with a slider their price range and the size of their room, and then it will automatically populate with the products that are relevant to them. And then they can also kind of click through to their website to see all of those products. You know, interactive creative is really, really great for engagement, brand awareness, and, you know, it can include things like forms, quizzes, and calculators, and it kind of gives you some more information about those audiences that can also be used to form the next message in the sequence. Countdowns. Countdowns are also really popular for sale periods, or, you know, if you've got kind of a special offer or a new product launch, and they kind of really create a sense of urgency. So these are really popular with a lot of our retailers, particularly around sale periods. So, you know, sale starts in or sale ends in. Search bars, also really popular. So that allows you to actually search for a particular product within the unit. That obviously kind of helps to remove any friction and improves user experience. And again, it's kind of giving you more information about that particular customer. So, they might search for shirts, and then you can kind of show them creative around shirts or suits. And it will also kind of help you to understand, what is very popular. The search bars can also be combined with dynamic geo, which basically takes the user's location and targets them with relevant messaging based on where they are. So you can even kind of use their actual location within the creative, like this creative unit from Topshop. So not only can you actually search for a particular product, but it will also show you where your nearest store is and when it ends, when it actually shuts. So the Brighton store, which closes at 6:30 p.m. We can also combine geo with weather targeting as well. So that will kind of change the messaging based on not only the user's location, but also the weather there. And that's really popular with travel clients. So, for example, it's flooding or it's raining, in Sydney, or, 10 degrees in Melbourne, and you could be in Fiji where it's 28 degrees, for example. Dynamic language, that basically transforms your creative to the user's own language. So at Crimtan, our banners can actually see the language settings in the user's browser. And then it feeds it back into our platform where it automatically translates the ad and kind of fills it with the same information translated. This is a great feature for regions that have got multiple languages, international brands, or even just kind of any brands with a large multicultural audience. API feeds can be used to kind of access any open source external data and use it within an ad as well. So, this is really great for providing context or to kind of show an expertise. So in the example on the screen, you've got CIIIC, which is a trading platform, and they use kind of up-to-date currency and commodity prices in their creative. But, there are loads of open source or open data sources that you can use, like interest rates or air quality, even for brands like Dyson, who have got air purifiers. So there's some ways that you can kind of use different data points to update your DCO, but you can also update every single element in the ad, as DCO templates are designed so that every single element in the ad is interchangeable. You can update images, videos, logos, CTA, the color, the background, without having to redesign your ad. You can even integrate a product feed. And then you can have kind of even more product information like pricing, stock levels, discounts, the entertainment clients. It can be, when the next show is, or, the ticketing prices, the prices that they start from. So, whether it's for personalization or for A/B testing, DCO, kind of will help with all of those things. And, here are some more examples again. So Subway use DCO to change the products that they show as well as the copy within their ads, depending on the day of the week. So every single, each day focuses on the sub of the day, which changes daily. And then we actually kind of use that day within the copy. So Mondays is all about, Monday healthy and happy, and Friday is about Fun Time Friday with the sub of the day. Subway also use dynamic weather to make sure that they're showing more relevant products. So, for example, when it's raining, then they'll have messaging around keep calm and enjoy Subway on a rainy day, and show, a more kind of hearty sub. And when it's sunny, the messaging is around seizing the day, and it'll have like a lighter prawn sub. So what are the advantages of, static versus dynamic creative? The main advantages are scalability. So, you don't have to manually create each ad, and you can have hundreds of different variations of creative through a single template. It's also more relevant, to each kind of individual audience segment. You get far more insights as well. So, you can kind of really understand which products, images, call to actions are driving better performance. And it's also more efficient. So, it's easier to understand which creative resonates with which audiences. And then it also kind of gives you the ability to optimize in real time as well. So, I think in the last IMAA Pulse survey, one of the things that, people kind of really wanted to see was deeper targeting capabilities, reporting, bespoke solutions, more optimizations and rich data. So, DCO really does deliver on all of those things. So I've shown you some really great uses for DCO that are probably more upper funnel or brand focused, but DCO also really helps to drive efficiencies when it comes to performance marketing, because it really does allow you to send, the best message to the right person at the right time and the right place. So now I'm going to kind of show you the best way to utilize DCO for full funnel and performance campaigns. So DCO allows you to personalize messages to audiences across their customer journey. So putting it into the context of a customer shopping journey, a customer will either have not heard of you, may have heard of your brand, but is not purchasing it, or might be a current customer that you can potentially grow. Each of these audiences are in different kind of stages of their customer journey, and it's really, really important to treat them all differently. So at Crimtan, we break out the customer journey into 3 different stages, being new, convert, and grow. So we can look at each of these stages in isolation. The first one is the new stage, which is, upper funnel branding, or, the prospecting stage. They're customers who don't necessarily know your brand and may not actively currently be in market. We know that it is far harder to convert a new customer than it is to convert an existing customer. So this is kind of really the stage where you really need to stand out and be using more high impact formats and larger formats. The objective for this stage is generally measured by, reach, into a particular audience, clicks to the brand site. If it's video, it'll be VCR and, maybe attention time metrics like engagement and dwell time and viewability. Optimizations in the new phase are generally kind of based on signals from the creative delivery. So, for example, the most popular time when people are actually researching and open to hearing about, new brands and clicking on ads might be on their kind of commute into work during the week. Whereas, when it comes to actual purchase, that might be more popular in the evenings or on the weekends. So that's kind of why it's really important to separate the two, because you need to be kind of optimizing differently for each of these audiences. So the second stage in the life cycle is the convert stage. And that's where a customer's been to your site, but they haven't necessarily kind of taken the action that you want them to take, whether that's a purchase or if you're kind of wanting them to download a form or make a booking. So this stage really kind of focuses on converting those customers. And, again, you are looking at different metrics. So, you're looking at, either kind of driving a action or, return on ad spend. You're looking at increasing new customer rates. You could also be looking at kind of average order values and looking at finding the most valuable audiences and the best way to get kind of incremental return on investment. So DCO allows you to kind of update your creative based on the customer's behavior on your actual site. So, for example, somebody who is a top-level browser is someone who's been to your site, but they haven't expressed interest in any particular product or category. So they might have just gone to the home page, or they might have gone to your about page. So, here is kind of where we would be showing creative to kind of encourage them to come back and research some more. You might be reinforcing your USPs. If somebody's looked at a particular category, then we'll show them creative relative to that category. And then if they've looked at a product, then kind of encouraging them to kind of take the action or make a purchase if it's a shopping journey, or if they've added something to their basket, then, you know, encouraging them to kind of complete that purchase. So I think also really importantly, when it comes to this, you know, retargeting phase, and, you know, I talked about this at the last kind of webinar that we did, but, you know, with retargeting, I think, you know, even as a consumer, you know, everybody's retargeting. There is not any frequency caps. And as a consumer, you go and you look at a particular product, you might have even purchased it, and then it kind of follows you around everywhere. So, you know, it's kind of a waste of impressions. So what we do is we actually put each of these audiences, so, you know, top level category viewers, we also put them into recency buckets. So we look at retargeting them, you know, in 1 day, 2 to 3 days, 4 to 7 days, you know, etc., to find the optimal recency and frequency to kind of drive that audience to conversion in the most cost-effective way, rather than, you know, I guess kind of cookie bombing somebody who, you know, has kind of shown really strong purchase intent and probably would have converted anyway. And then the third stage, which is probably the most neglected, is the grow stage. So this stage is, you know, basically somebody who has made a purchase, and kind of rather than retargeting with the same messaging, we actually look at ways that we can get them to re-engage with the brand. So there's a few ways that you can do that. You can kind of look at upsell, quick upsell strategies. So, you know, what are some other popular companion products that you can actually show them, cross-sell, you know, or, you know, looking at, you know, more expensive products or packs, and lapsed customer strategies as well. So, you know, if a customer has been to your site but they haven't actually come back and interacted with you, we'll kind of agree on a time frame. You know, it can be 7 days or it can be 60 days where we'll go and we'll retarget them, you know, with new promotional messages or special offers, and just encouraging them to re-engage with the brand again. And the objective for Grow is all about kind of incremental return on investment. So the lifecycle setup is designed to look at the whole customer lifecycle and not just kind of a single or the final stage of a single purchase. A successful lifecycle campaign will generate, you know, a really strong ROI or a CPA, but also grow new customer rates and improve average order values. And it's just kind of a more holistic way of, you know, not only targeting, but also, you know, looking at measuring the success of your campaign. So, you know, by identifying and managing the sequence of messaging to best suit the behaviors of the audience, you know, you can kind of really focus on more than just an individual sale. And I know, you know, with a lot of our customers, when you break it out this way, particularly for CPA-focused customers, you know, when you break it out and you show them that, you know, the CPA is always going to be much higher when you're driving new customers to site, and then it gets lower and lower as you go through the funnel. But then, you know, you hit a great CPA and a client wants you to constantly improve on that, but there's going to be a time where you're going to have to actually increase that retargeting pool, and breaking it out this way kind of really helps them to understand. And then, you know, you can work together on, you know, what is more important, the CPA or number of conversions. You know, if you've got kind of a hard goal with number of conversions, then, you know, maybe you need to kind of relook at your CPA and, you know, stuff like that. So here is a example of a lifecycle DCO campaign for Modi Bodhi, who sell underwear, activewear, and swimwear. We start off by producing a bespoke template, you know, in kind of, I guess, we use the 6 most popular sizes to ensure that we've got, you know, access to optimal inventory. And, you know, once we kind of create these templates, then it makes it really easy to update all of the elements on the page and to A/B test different elements, as well as to kind of tailor elements for different audience groups, because Modi Bodhi sell men's, women's products, pregnancy products, and baby products. You know, again, this is the stage where we focus on more large, high impact formats for new customers. And then, you know, for anyone who's kind of engaged with the creative, then we'll use smaller formats to retarget those customers. So, you know, again, this is all about kind of finding the most qualified audience and getting their attention and driving them to the site. What we can also do is tie into your trade calendar or any events. So, you know, particularly for always on campaigns, it just makes it really easy to update creative and targeting tactics to kind of tie into your trade calendar. So, you know, for Modibodi, they have got partnerships, influencer activity, you know, and then obviously kind of key retail periods as well. So it just makes it really, really easy to update the creative. A lot of our retail partners actually, when they're updating their homepage tiles, will give us that creative at the same time. So that also, you know, gives you consistency from the ad through to the site. And, you know, it is really important to update your creative and constantly refresh it to kind of avoid that creative fatigue. So we often also add bespoke interactive creative to the new stage. So, you know, people will often have BAU campaigns and then they'll have kind of tactical campaigns that run alongside them. So, you know, this is another example. We showed you some examples previously, but this is a quiz. So you kind of answer a number of questions to find out which Modibodi product is the best one for you. The second retargeting or convert stage, you know, so for top level browsers for Modibodi, so we don't know anything more about them. We're kind of sending the messaging around a 60-day risk-free trial. Again, you know, reinforcing those USPs to try and get them to kind of look further. If somebody's looked at a particular category, so in this case, you know, the swim category, then they're receiving creative around swim category. And then, you know, product and also abandoned basket, just giving them kind of a little bit of a reminder. You know, this can also be done through product feeds as well. So through a product feed, we can say, you know, we can set rules like if you've looked at, you know, a particular category, then we'll show you the top 3 most browsed or purchased products within that category. And then, you know, it'll do that automatically. It will kind of pull all the assets directly from the product feed. But if you don't, then we can kind of produce one for the client. And then once that's set up, it's kind of all ready to go and you can just kind of leave it and there's no need to update creative for this particular stage. And then we've got the convert stage. So, you know, once somebody's made a purchase and they go into a converter bucket, we look at ways that we can re-engage those customers. So for Modibodi, for lapsed customers, you know, this is creative around if you give $15 to spend to a friend, then you get $15 back. So it's a little bit of a special promotion, and, you know, that particular promotion also kind of helps to drive new customers as well. Cross-sell, you know, trunks, if somebody's, you know, for example, looked at briefs and showing trunks as a popular companion product, or upsell strategy is around a pack. So rather than just kind of buying individual underwear, encouraging them to buy a pack and kind of spend more money and increase that average order value. Well, what do you need to facilitate a good DCO presentation? You know, you kind of need a combination of technology. You know, you need a DMP. So, you know, the DMP is used to identify all of the audiences and group all of your audiences. And then you need a DCO platform. So that will kind of build out the rules on which, you know, which creative is seen by which audience groups. And then you also need a DSP. So you need a DSP to, you know, find those audiences, you know, in a brand safe environment, wherever they're consuming relevant content. So, you know, Crimtan have got all of those technologies in one. You know, obviously, you know, you probably deal with lots of DMPs, you know, potentially dynamic creative platforms and DSPs, whereas we kind of have got one platform that unites all of these programmatic capabilities. And so, yeah, and on top of that, so we've got Architect, which is our single tech stack. And that's kind of built on reliable consented user data, activations and like optimizing rich media formats across all channels. And you also need a persistent ID solution. So Active ID is our persistent ID solution that doesn't rely on third-party cookies. Obviously you need to be able to retarget people, and you need to be able to retarget them, over a longer period than 24 hours. So, even with Safari, as everybody knows, which is a huge audience, it's more than half of mobiles and almost a third of all browsers in Australia are currently dropping third-party cookies every 24 hours. So you kind of really need a different solution in order to be able to retarget those people. And we have also got a consent management platform. So that is kind of around, data privacy legislation, which I know the government is looking at now, and we are potentially looking at changing to more of kind of the UK GDPR explicit consent. So if that does happen, then we've also got a consent management platform that can also be used. And also just to mention, you can also add additional channels to your DCO campaign. So you don't have to stop at just DCO. We know that combining programmatic channels is proven to increase performance, and people who see ads from multiple channels are more likely to click, complete a view, finish a conversion than those who have just kind of seen one channel. So we definitely encourage multi-channel. It also really helps to avoid creative fatigue as well. And so now I've just got a few case studies that I'll take you through. The first one is BWS. We work with BWS. We've been working with them for almost 4 years now across brand and performance campaigns, co-branded campaigns with their partners. This particular campaign, they had tasked us to use DCO and really kind of test DCO to meet some of their objectives. And we managed to hit a positive ROAS in just 10 days. So the campaign objectives were around kind of using DCO to deliver a positive ROAS, which was deduped across their other channels, and also to kind of align their display activity, which changes quite regularly. So they have lots of promotions and, weekly promotions, and they kind of wanted to be able to change up the promotions, the products that they were showing, making them relevant to each individual audience. So we kind of use the life cycle approach to tackle each of their 3 pillars, which is range, convenience, and value. We created a template with 3 frames. The first frame highlighted all of the kind of relevant categories based on the audience and also the trade promotions that they had running that week. So, whether it was like a wine or a beer promotion. The second frame highlighted the convenience, so showing kind of the nearest store using dynamic weather to kind of help customers to plan their purchase. And then the third frame was around value and focused on showing specific products, to each audience kind of based on the different price brackets. So, kind of your higher and your lower end, wines and alcohol. So the result was that we hit a deduped ROI of 3 to 1 in our first campaign. And since then, we've gone on to achieve a ROAS of 6 to 1. We hit a positive return within 10 days, which was 20 days ahead of the schedule. And our average order value also increased across both new and existing customers by 6% more than other channels. Here's a testimonial from the marketing manager. We tasked Crimtan to create relevant brand recall with messaging that was specific to each new and existing BWS customer at a specific time, location, and the right product based on their interest and intent. And to make things even more challenging, we asked them to hit a positive ROAS by the end of 1 month, deduped through our own attribution platform. They exceeded our targets and we were ecstatic with the results. So they were very happy with us and we're obviously still working with them. Another just quick example is OPSM. So they used us to drive eye test bookings. So their online bookings to go into the store and actually have an eye test. Again, we regularly updated their creative based on promotions that they actually had in store. And then, for convert strategies, depending on how they interacted with the site, then we kind of showed them the most relevant creative. So if they could have looked at their kind of health insurance portal to find out more information, then we'd serve them creative that was relative to that. And we were able to achieve the lowest CPA across all display partners, and also kind of really help to educate them around, CPAs and hitting their goals through the life cycle. And also Mothbras, who is a men's fashion retailer. We helped them deliver 6-to-1 incremental ROI using our DCO approach. So this was kind of a brand that didn't really consider display as a meaningful marketing channel. And they really kind of wanted to test display for Q4, which for retail is, their biggest period. It's when they've got all their promotional activity. And they really wanted to increase the number of new customers that they reached and converted. And they wanted to, ensure that display was driving true incrementality. And also make sure that their brand was represented in the right way, and leverage their trade calendar to really drive performance. So we set up a lifecycle DCO campaign for them. We kind of ran a lot of branding activity in the lead up to all of the sale periods, and we were able to, really easily set up all of the different sale periods. And you've got, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, they're, 24-hour sales, but we can kind of set that up all in advance, use countdowns, and really easily change their creative through Q4 and that period. We split the budget between new and retargeting, with the majority of the budget going, 65% going into prospecting, because they were wanting to drive incrementality, and 35% of the budget going into retargeting. And it resulted in, $450,000 of incremental revenue. The overall ROI was 9-to-1. We delivered a new customer rate of 43%, which was checked against 5 years of their kind of CRM data. Cost per order was $15.50 across new and existing customers. And we actually did an incremental test with a control group to confirm the incrementality of the results. And then you've also got the industry standard there as well. So another testimonial, Crimtan have become a key component in our marketing strategy. We have discovered completely new customers to our business, as well as reactivating lapsed customers, while having complete control of our brand across the network. Crimtan have provided excellent customer service throughout, and I'm looking forward to the coming year where we can build out our lifetime strategy via relevant and timely engagement of our customer base. So now I'm conscious that is half an hour of your time, and it's a lot of information, but we've also actually put together some best practices for creative for you. So we're going to send this presentation across, and then you'll also get some additional information around best creative practices for programmatic. So, I hope that I have been able to kind of shed some light on DCO. And, if any of you have got any questions, or you're thinking about using it for a client, please do feel free to reach out and let us know. I think it kind of sounds quite complicated, but, if you're working with the right partner, then, it isn't. It's actually quite easy, and we hold your hand through it all. And once it's kind of all set up, we kind of do all of the work for you. So, it can seem quite daunting, but it really isn't. So, yeah, if anybody has any questions, let me know.
And often there isn't questions. So, what we might do is share that document in our newsletter that comes out in the next few days, guys, and also the video as well. Crimtan, thank you so much for your support of the Independent Network. Laura, thank you so much for your support. You're amazing. If anyone's got any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll connect you. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Next week, we've got something else amazing. If you're in WA, we'll see you at